So I'm thoroughly confused. Is this a Christmas special in October? Was this a leaked episode? Or is this like... Okay, as you can tell, I'm just kidding here. So, as you can tell, this is obviously a heartwarming episode that's out in October. I don't know why it's out this week, but let's just get on with the review. This week's episode is called Heartbreakers, and yeah, it feels weird. I mean, out of all the episodes we could get this week, we get a heartwarming episode in October. Don't know why. It's like, just gonna wait till November to do it? Like, what the movie studios do? But, who knows? It could be good. So, let's just dive right into this. So, it turns out we're on yet another Pinkie Apple Pie adventure, where both Applejack and Pinkie Pie decide to basically spend, that obviously both their families basically decide to spend time with each other as they decide to spend heartwarming Eves with each other. But here's the catch. The Apple family is spending heartwarming Eves with the Pie family. So they're spending it with Pinkie Pie and her family. So, it's obvious off the bat that we get, like, sort of this another down-to-earth, very serious, as serious family tradition, like, almost National Lampoon Christmas Vacation, like, episode, or whatever. Except, actually, it's almost like National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. So, yeah, it's just basically the Apple family basically decides to spend Christmas Vacation with Pinkie and her family. And at first they're going to like it, but sadly they celebrate Heartwarming Eve differently. And her family does not take too kindly to some of the family members. And Limestone has like this huge, gigantic boulder. And is it me, or does Limestone sound an awful bit like Revy from Black Lagoon? But nonetheless, Limestone basically has like this huge, gigantic boulder that obviously no one wants to have anyone else touch, so no one else touches it except Pinkie Pie. So obviously the family decides to just, play along with Pinkie and her family. The obvious of the bunch is that the difference in the traditions they have. Like, they don't have the usual, like, Christmas dolls or whatever they have. They don't have the heartwarming flag. They don't have the presents they find or whatever. Or at least the presents they don't open. Or at least, let me follow this in the continuity. They celebrate Heartwarming Eve differently. it's just, I find this so very odd that they would play a Heartwarming Eve episode in October. It just feels so odd. It's like, I should just reserve this for my 28 Days of Christmas marathon. It's just, it feels so weird. But, again, I'm getting off topic here. So, it's obvious that they celebrate their traditions differently from what they do where they live. So, Applejack decides to get the family to obviously make the family play, or at least get the family to do things quite differently, but it's obvious that the family doesn't want to break off a tradition. And what winds up happening is that Limestone's rock winds up falling down. And eventually gets Limestone, obviously, so angry that it literally causes her to go off on a tangent and basically just say, or at least causes her to go in an instant rage that I swear she acts like Trevor Phillips from GTA 5 and basically boots them out of the entire family for sure. And of course, they obviously comply with the orders. And of course, as they are on the train, they suddenly realize that they realize through Granny Smith's story that the rock was actually somehow connected to them. At least the way I understood it. Or at least it was connected to them for generations on end. And of course they decide to actually go back to the farm and actually celebrate their tradition. And I believe through a mixture of theirs. And of course they comply as well. And of course the tradition ends there. And thus, we get Heartbreakers. I think this is something I should obviously reserve for the next 28 Days of Christmas. It's obvious that we've got a good episode right here, but it's obvious right here, as of right now, this is something I should not say for my first impressions reviews. Like, for first impressions as of this moment, like, it's hard to think about this right now, especially when we're nearing Halloween. And with the fact that with next month nearing, as of this moment, that we're nearing, of course, the holiday clusterbuck, where we're in between 3 holidays, you know, Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. It's really hard to think of what to say about this special. I mean, if I could think of what to think of with Heartwarming Eve and get that through for the Mega Marathon, I'd probably think about that for the 28 Days of Christmas, then why not this? But yeah, this is something I should reserve for the 20... Yeah. This episode is something I should reserve for the 28 Days of Christmas free. Because I could imagine myself seeing this probably again. Because it's obvious. Next week we got Scaremaster, the one episode that got leaked on iTunes. Yeah, I know about that. iTunes dummies. But what do I think about Heartbreakers before I get distracted? It's kind of good. When you get past Limestone sounding like Revy and the fact that she's a Grinch in this episode, she's actually kind of a good character. It's actually kind of a good episode. I really love the, the characters and everything. But I really love the fact that they actually bring back Heartwarming Eve. It's not really forgotten in this series. Like, it's not passed down through season 2. They never really forgotten about it. I'm really glad about that. So, on a scale of 1 to 10, no 1 to 10 at this moment. Maybe when the marathon begins, I might give it that. I might give the scale of 1 to 10 there, when I begin the marathon. But when I begin the at least when I begin the, the 28 days. I've been promoting, ever since this episode came out, I've been promoting that thing. But until I can figure out a way how to get myself out of this whole heartwarming Christmas whatever, I'll be hopefully seeing you guys for next week's episode, in which we'll be seeing the leaked episode that will hopefully be airing. And I'm really excited for this one because I've been really patiently waiting for this one. I haven't seen it leaked, and of course I've been really, really, really excited for this one. So, that's all I have to say for this episode, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.